Hello, good day everyone. I am Romualdo Raniases, Best at Chim2B, and for today's discussion in the subject Organization and Management, we will be having indeed Chapter 5, Ownership and Structural Forms of Business Enterprise. So, types of ownership in business. So, as we know that ownership is a legal title to a thing or control over a thing owned. It is the state or fact of owning a group or business or organization. From the point of view of ownership fall into three broad classifications, which is the private ownership, the public ownership, and the mixed ownership. Private ownership, it is when an enterprise is so organized that private individuals exercise and enjoy the rights and privileges of an owner in their own interest. So public ownership, it is when the organization of the enterprise is affected and management is controlled by political bodies as a municipal, provincial, or national government. So mixed ownership exists when the elements of ownership are divided such that kung mag-uban ang private persons o public bodies in the same operations and the same enterprise. So here's the forms of private ownership. Privately owned industrial enterprise may take five basic forms. These are individual or single or sole proprietorship, partnership, cooperative organization, cooperation, and corporate combination. So we also have here the factors of private ownership. Any business enterprise may be organized according to the mentioned forms, but the choice depends upon a careful considerations of its factors. So, among these factors are A. The nature and size of the business to be started. B. The capital required and the means of procuring it. Letter C. The length of time the enterprise is expected to operate. And letter D. The technical conditions affecting the enterprise. And letter E. The types of products to be manufactured. F. The method and volume of production. G. The kind of markets to be supplied and methods of marketing. So the last one is the competitive nature of the chosen industry. The individual or single proprietorship. So ang enterprise is owned by one person lang yun. Siya mo promote sa enterprise, gets together the necessary land, buildings, and labor, and he owns the business outright. Advantages of single proprietorship. Number 1, it is easy to start and to terminate. So anyone could start a business. All that he has to do is to secure facilities such as supplies, goods, equipment, and quarters before he opens the door of his business. No formalities are necessary to start, and the owner can terminate his business as he wishes. Number 2, control or management lies entirely in the hands of the owner. So, syempre kay ikaw may tag-iya na, the control is in your hands. Only you can enjoy the full freedom of operation. The decisions, policies, and plans made is in your hands without the necessity of consulting anyone. Number 3, only a small amount of capital is required in starting. Through the single proprietorship form of ownership, anyone can go into business, with the exception, perhaps of a small license fee and compliance with a few regulations. He could open the business upon his initiative. Number 4, profits belongs entirely to the owner. So, syempre kay siya ra may tag-iya sa business at tugyod niya ang tanang profit pa dong. Ug wala na lain pa. Number 5, high credit standing. Anyone who extends credit to a business owned by one person may look beyond the value of the firm to the private resources of the owner. In contrast, an extension of credit to a corporation must be based entirely on the ability of the business to repay the debt. Disadvantages of a single proprietorship. Number 1, limited judgment and wisdom. Being alone, the ownership judgment may not be sufficient enough to promote the business. So one head may not be as good as two or more. Kay kung daghan mo nga gatabang sa maong business, daghang ideas ang ma-share, kapital nga matampo-tampo, ug mas daghan ang options when it comes on making plans and decisions. And the business has the possibility to expand immediately and comes up with a satisfied and successful operation. Number 2, limited amount of capital. So kay owned by one person raman, maong limited lang yun ang capital compared to 2 or more people kay daghan mo nga magtampo-tampo sa maong capital. Number 3, unlimited liability. So when we say liability, it is the state of being liable for something. In the case of single proprietorship, the proprietor is liable for all the debts of the business. Sa tanang bayro nun, utang, responsibilities when it comes to payment. So kay siya ra may gidala sa mong business, tanang bayro nun, syempre adto pud niya tanan. Number 4, difficulties of management. Ordinarily, a sole proprietorship is a small business. The owner assumes the responsibility for such diverse tasks such as purchasing, merchandising, extending credit, financing, employing personnel, and so forth. So, tanang responsibilities is naa niya, and he may be unusually capable of handling some of these functions tungod kay maglisod siya mag-manage tungod sa mga overloaded responsibilities and duties tungod kay siya ray mao'y nag-operate sa maong business, and it may be led to bankruptcy. Like for example, a retail store with a large volume of business went into bankruptcy tungod kay the owner was so generous when it comes on extension of credits. Magsige siya pahangyo nga sunod na bayaran ang maong mga utang unya maulaw or panagsara siya mag-collect sa maong mga accounts. Ug ang iyang business wala na sufficient money nga nabilin para ibayad sa mga bills ug mga kinahanglan sa maong business. So mabankrupt yun ang maong business. So good management in a business is a must. Partnership. Article 1967 of the Civil Code defines a partnership as an organization where 2 or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits. So, among themselves, when we say partnership, it involves relationship between partners in the business. It is more like single proprietorship except that it has 2 or more persons involved. Agreement and control of partnership. It is preferable that the partnership agreement should be drawn up in writing a reliable attorney and signed by everyone of the partners in order to remove the possibility of misunderstanding kay in case magkahiunsa, you have the public document as evidence of the partnership contract. The control of the business is held jointly by the partners. So in partnership, you can have equal voice in the management, equal shares in profits and losses. Syempre kay partners man mo moong dapat mag-unong mo sa kung unsay mahitabo sa inyong business. If masuccessful man na or dili, dapat uban japon mo. If partners decide to share profits at a 2-to-1 ratio and losses and a 2-to-2 ratio, that is possible, but it should be in the partnership agreement. Honesty and reliability, industry and technical knowledge of partners play an important role in the partnership because it is not enough that partners has the required money, experience, and knowledge, but equally important are the personal qualifications, and that is honesty and reliability, industry, and technical knowledge. Advantages of partnership. Number 1, it could be as easily formed as the single proprietorship. Partners can outline the activities and can then start operations as simple as single proprietorship as long as naalay enough capital, plans, objectives, and of course, trust and understanding sa partners. As long as magkasinabot ang both sides, they could easily form a business. Number 2, there are more persons to conduct the business and to handle its problems. Kay lagi partners man sila, kung daghan ang involved sa business, it can be operated on a larger scale and gains are likely greater. Og tungod kay share man sila sa mahimong result sa maong business, mag-share sad sila sa risk and problems sa maong business. So kung daghan ang mag-solve sa maong problem, they can arrive directly at the right solutions and decisions. Number 3, a partnership has access to greater or better credit facilities. When 2 or more partners assume unlimited liability for the obligations of the partners, banks and credit institutions are willing to lend more money. Number 4, the combined ability and resources of partners are a source of strength. In a partnership, there are combines of judgment and opinions for better solution of the business problems. So there is a close relationship and efforts nga mahitabo kay as every partner expect to derive at a profit. There is a stronger incentive on the partners to put their best effort. Number 5, retention of valuable employees. So they can retain the services of a valuable employee by making him a partner. Disadvantages of partnership. Number 1, unlimited liability of partners. So walay kahuman ang bayro nun. Each partner is liable to creditors for the whole indebtedness of the firm. They all subject to answer the debts of the partnership. Number 2, disagreement between partners often led to delay and difficulties which could endanger the enterprise. Kaning dili magkasinabot ang tanan kay naay mga klase-klaseng opinions, mga decisions ug mga paglantaw ug interes ang usag-usa. So dapat maghiusa ang tanan so that they can work functionally and effectively and will arrive at the right decision. Number 3, easy dissolution. Some of factor nga ma-dissolution ang usa ka partnership is ang death or pagkamatay sa partner, insanity or pagkabuang or insolvency or wala nay ikapundo or ikapamuhunan pa. Number 4, fraudulent investment. For an individual who wishes to invest some money in a business, the partnership form may prove to be a poor choice from a viewpoint of liquidity and transferability. The limited partnership. To avoid the unlimited liability of all the general partners in a general partnership, the limited partnership was evolved. In a limited partnership, there were two kinds of partners, namely general partners and the special partners or limited partners. General partners have unlimited liability. They manage the operations of the partnership, while the limited or special partners have only limited liability. They take no active part in the management of the partnership. They may contribute capital but they cannot contribute services to the partnership. So, the general partners who take the responsibility of managing the operation in the business, while the limited or special partners can only contribute money or capital but cannot manage the operation. His name will not appear in the partnership name. Advantages of limited partnership. Number 1, there is a single direction of management, thus there is unity and prompt action. Number 2, the limited liability of special or limited partners serves as good inducement of investment, resulting in larger amount of capital to carry on the business of the partnership. Disadvantages of limited partnership. As there are advantages, there are also disadvantages. Number 1 is the unlimited power of general partners may result in abuse. The power that given by general partners are unlimited, so if these powers are not used in a proper way, it may result to abuse. Tungod kay magsalig ang maong manager nga na siya power maong mag-abusar na. Number 2, collusion among general partners to defraud the creditors and special partners is possible. Kinds of partners. Number 1 is the general partner. So mao lagi to katong I referred earlier nga they manage the operation. Number 2 is the limited partner. Then ang limited partner is mo contribute rasas maong capital, cash or property, but they cannot operate the management or they cannot contribute a service. Number 3 is the capitalist partner. They contribute money or property to the organization. Number 4, industrial partner. They contribute services, talents, skills, ability, and more, but not property. Number 5, managing partner. They administers the operations and manages the business directly. Number 6 is the liquidating partner. They handles the affairs of the solution of the business. Number 7 is the ostensible partner. They publicly makes known his connections with a partnership. Number 8 is the secret partner. They are those partners whose identity is not publicly made known. Unlike sa ostensible partner, tago lang sila. Number 9, silent partner. They are not given a voice in the management. Number 10 is the dormant partner. They are both secret and silent. And number 11 is the nominal partner. They are not partner at all because the firm continues using his name for business or prestige purposes only. Seniors and junior partners. Senior partners are those general partner who has substantial investment in the firm. They receives a larger percentage of the profits and have major role in the management. While the junior partner is opposite of the senior partner because junior partner are those young men recently admitted to a partner's status. They does not have very much money invested. They receives only minor share of the profits and not expected to assume responsibility for major decisions. The cooperative organization. Cooperative organization has some elements of a large partnership and has many features of corporation. Its principal theory is the elimination of profits as the controlling motivation and reduction of certain economic evils. Under the cooperative system, enterprises are formed to provide goods and services. And a cooperative is a business organization which owned by the people it serves. And also in cooperative organization, owners are also customers. And in cooperative organization, maybe a simple association like a large partnership or a chartered organization like a corporation. It is operated or conducted in the same way an ordinary profit-making company operates. Kinds of cooperative organization. The customers cooperative. This cooperative organization usually draws its members from the general public. It carries on retail trade of operations, and it may engage in marketing as grocery, a cloth store, and a gasoline station, or may take the form similar goods and services enterprises supplying the ultimate customers. We also have barbershop cooperatives, restaurants cooperatives, and transportation cooperatives. The producers cooperative. This cooperative draws its membership chiefly from the producers of grains and other farm products, livestock, fruits, and dairy products. It employed the cooperative principle in order to enable their members to buy supplies at wholesale. The marketing cooperative. This cooperative is closely related to producers cooperative and often merged with it into one organization. The financing cooperative. This cooperative association it led to people to borrow money at relatively low rates of interest. Like for example, building and loan associations, savings and loans association, and certain types of credit unions. Principles of cooperative. Letter E, open membership. Kaning open siya dapat sa tanan, walay discrimination nga mahitabo when it comes on social, political, racial, or religious. Letter B is the democratic control. The affairs of the cooperative shall be administered by persons elected or appointed in a manner agreed by the members. Letter C is the limited interest to capital. Share capital shall earn only limited interest. Letter D is the patronage refund. Patronage is kwarta nga ibalik sa isa ka cooperative nga nimo. Kasagaran mahitabo ang patronage is kung member ka sa usa ka cooperative, unya kung ana nga business ka gasigi og palitan naay patronage refund nga madawat nimo depende ra pud sa kung pilay na purchase nimo anhang businessa. Power of cooperatives. Letter E is the to exercise the same rights and privileges given to persons, partnership, and cooperation provided under existing laws. Letter B, to establish and operate business enterprises of all kinds as their needs dictates and their capabilities allow, subject to the provision of existing laws. Letter C, to establish rural banks under the Rural Bank Act and or to purchase government-held preferred shares of rural banks. Letter D. To employ all the privileges and incentives granted by the NASIDA Act. Letter E. The petition of government to expropriate idle urban or rural lands for agricultural production, cottage industry, business or housing purposes, and to own and dispose of property, to enter into contract, to sue, and to do and perform such other acts as may be necessary in the pursuit of its objectives. Privileges of cooperatives. Letter E is the exemption from income taxes and sales taxes. Letter B, the preferential right to supply rice, corn, and other grains, fish, other marine products, meat, eggs, milk, vegetables, tobacco, and other agricultural commodities produced by members of the cooperatives concerned to state agencies administrating rice stabilization program. And letter C is the exemption from the application of the minimum wage law upon the recommendation of the Bureau of Cooperatives Development, subject to the approval of the Secretary of Labor. Corporation is an artificial being created by operation of law, having the right of succession and the powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law. It is in advanced countries the corporate form of business ownership dominates the manufacturing and commercial fields. The corporate business unit possesses over all the other forms of organization. Nature and characteristic of corporation. Number 1, it is an artificial business unit and its creation is through the process of law. The law makes creation of a corporation possible and governs a large part of its operations, and once formed, the corporation has its own name and an independent status, separate from the stockholders who compose it, becomes juridical person with a separate legal personality. Number 2, the basic structure of a corporation is simple. It is composed of any number of stockholders or shareholders who are the real owners of the corporation, a board of directors elected by the members to fix the policies and conduct of the business, and a group of top-ranking officers who actively manage the company's affairs. Because of its structure, a corporation operates through delegated authority and responsibility. Number 3 is the corporation organization is a wide scope. Individuals who could not hope to be owners of a business enterprise may, through pooling of resources, organize a big business unit. Number 4, the existing of corporation is practically permanent by operation of law. The term of a life of a corporation is usually limited by statute to a period of years, subject to renewal. Number 5, the function of a corporation is public. The assumption is that the existence of a corporation is for the benefit of the public or society, while the ownership and purpose may be for private profit. Kinds of private corporation include the stock corporation and the non-stock corporation. The stock corporation is the capital stock is divided into shares authorized to distribute dividends into the holders of the shares, while the non-stock corporation, the capital stock is not so divided. Classes of capital stock include the common stock. Common stock carries with it to the right of voting, through which the holders have great residual ownership or power over the corporation. It ordinary stock representing the basic ownership. The ownership interest is divided into shares which may or may not have a par value. When we say par value, it is the amount printed on the stock certificate. Par values of common stock are important in determining the payments of dividends. Number 2 is the preferred stock. As its name implies, it gives the owners special protection or advantages over the common stockholders. It carries preference as to priority in the payment of dividends over the common stock. Several classifications of preferred stock. Preferred stock as to dividends, preferred stock as to assets in case of dissolution, preferred stock as to both dividends and assets, and preferred stock is a cumulative, killable, and convertible. Corporate ownership and control. The ultimate control of the corporation rests in the hands of the stockholders. They exercise control through the voting power at regular or special meetings by electing the board of directors and passing upon board policies and other pieces of the business. However, the real control is in the hands of the board of directors and the officers. This is because stockholders who are the owners are too numerous, often too disinterested. As has been stated, the common stock carries voting power. The stockholders technically exercise the ultimate power of ownership through his right to vote. Advantages of the corporation. The advantages of the corporation over the other forms of ownership may be classified into two categories, namely the organizational and the operational advantages. The organizational advantages are as follows. Number 1, ease of acquiring large amount of capital. By the sales of thousands of shares to both large and small investors, a corporation has easy financing problems. Thus, necessary capital could be easily secured to finance the enterprise. Number 2 is the flexible ownership. In flexible ownership, shares of stocks are transferable without affecting the company's status or operation. So, flexible ra siya unlike in the case of partnership. Number 3 is the limited liability of stockholders. Unlike a single proprietorship, the liability of stockholder is limited to their actual investment in the business. Number 4, more or less permanent existence. In corporation, the death or incapacity of the stockholder does not affect the status of the corporation. They simply passes the stock sa laing kamot while the corporation magpadayon gyapon sa ilang operation. Number 5 is the legal entity. A corporation can make contracts and secure title to property in its own name. The operational advantages are the following. Number 1 is the corporation offers an excellent mechanism for mobilizing the large capital needed for modern industrial operations. Number 2, it permits extended specialization in management, plant and equipment, factory organization, labor, and marketing. Reasons for the corporation eminent advantages. The corporation cannot operate the business in any old-fashioned way. Number 2, it has direct responsibility to investors who expect and demand concrete results. Number 3, the corporation must compete actively for more capital, land, raw materials, train managers, and labor. Number 4, the corporation is subject to searching criticism from investors, competitors, labor, and the public. Disadvantages of corporate ownership. Number 1 is organizational expense. Number 2 is the government restrictions and reports. Number 3, lack of personal interest. Number 4, lack of secrecy. The corporate combination. As in the name stated, corporate combination is the combining of two or more corporations. This can be happen if the corporation is in the development stage. Among the corporate combinations that may be mentioned are the merger and the trust. The trust serves as the decide for obtaining two valuable features, namely the delegated management and the transferability of shares. In trust, the liability of the participants is strictly limited to the amount of their investment. So there are different forms of trust, namely the simple or dry trust. Number 2, the active trust. Number 3, the investment trust, where it is not the administration of enterprise but the pooling of funds by investors in order to obtain a diversification of risk by holding the securities of a large number of enterprise which is involved. So before we'll end our discussion for today, we first have the quote by Vince Lombardi. The achievements of an organization are the results of the combined efforts of each individual. And that's all. Thank you.